So let's be very clear. When all we want to grow our calves, some of us have an excuse saying that we're not enough or that it's too hard for us. But maybe it's because we're actually not implementing these 5 techniques or 5 things that I'm going to show you in this video on how to maximize gains on your calves. Because the calves, even though it's a muscle that it's not that big, it actually makes you look your legs way bigger, especially the lower legs. Makes you look, of course, your lower legs even more stronger. People are gonna tell you, wow, this dude really is strong, or he really lifts some weights, or he really cycles a lot. But in this video, I just wanted to show you the 5 ways where you can actually grow your calves muscles, so you can actually see and start looking way better legs than just those chicken legs you have, right? So when I first started training calves, I was doing a huge mistake, and it was that I was doing very fast repetitions. And that's the first thing that you need to take care about, is that when training calves, you need to actually feel that your calves are working. You need to feel that those muscles are moving. So if you do it very fast, like a lot of people I see mostly on commercial gyms do, they're not gonna grow their calves. You see their calves and they're not that big, they're tiny, or they have some muscle mass, because we all have muscle mass, but some develop muscle mass and they don't do the correct training. They don't take it seriously, they try to do it fast. And so for this reason, it comes to my number 1 reason, is that you should train your calves in a slow tempo. What you can do is, when you finish the concentric part, do the eccentric part for 3 seconds, pause at the bottom for 2 additional seconds, and then all the way up to the explosive contraction. And why is this the best way to you grow your calves? Well, because first of all, you're stimulating more of the muscles. You're actually giving more time under tension, which is one of the fundamentals of building muscle. So I think this is one of the core things that you should do, especially when you want to build your calves. So that's number 1, is that try to focus on mind to muscle connection. The second thing is that you have to have a proper routine. Probably you're only training your calves twice a week, right? 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, right? Well, let me tell you that that's enough, but for doing it in the minimum effective dose. If your calves aren't growing, and if you're only doing 6 sets, the hint is just there, my dude or girl. You need to do more sets. You need to do more volume. I'm not telling you to do 30 sets per week of calves. Instead, what you can do is by gradually increasing your sets every single week. And if you see a difference, for example, if you circumference measure your calves every single month, month 1 you have been doing 10 sets, then month 2 12 sets, and you see that your circumference reading is actually more, the number is higher, then your calves are growing. But if you're doing 6 sets every single week, almost every single year, your routines with the same exercises, you're not gonna achieve anything. So the next point here is to do more sets, do more volume. If you don't see any results, that may be a hint you're not doing sufficient volume. Another thing is that a lot of people don't really take this in mind, especially if you're a beginner or even you have been training along. Maybe you have forget some fundamentals. You forget that, oh, this is not important. In my case, I found out that very fast that maybe training calf was not that big, but it really is. But when you want to build muscle in any part of your body, you need to take care of progressive overload. And progressive overload, in my opinion, is one of the things that we all should take plan of our routines. Make sure to always stick to it. Make sure to always push ourselves harder. Make it uncomfortable, because if you're comfortable training, you're not doing anything. Your calves are not going to grow again. So my number 3 is that you apply progressive overload to your calf exercises. Just like in any other muscles, you should as well apply progressive overload to your calves exercises. Now, I'm not saying you that every single week do more weight in your exercises. You can do a lot of other things. For example, if you started with 100 pounds with 10 reps of 3 sets, then next week you can do the same 3 sets but with 12 reps with those 100 pounds, and you can incrementally do that while again doing the things I mentioned in point 1, which is the good technique. Because if you don't do a good technique, and if you just fly away on your reps, you try to do as fast as you can, you're not going to achieve your gains, because you're stimulating less and less your muscles. And the point here is to stimulate it enough so it can grow, right? If you don't stimulate them enough, they're not going to grow. So I think this is the most important one, is to apply progressive overload. You need to apply progressive overload to exercises, especially on the calves, which is just as hard as building any other muscle, but for some reason a lot of people really try to mess up when they train calves. So the last 2 years I have been experimenting with different things. I was one of those people who thought that once you have a routine, that's a routine you need to follow for the rest of your life. And yes, the more convenient it is, the more simple it is, the better it will be for you, of course. But sometimes in life we need to make changes, right? For example, I needed to make a huge change when I came here to Virginia. It was a huge change for me because I was going to take an internship outside where I live, so I needed to adapt to the changes. So this is a very different example, but what I'm gonna get to my point here is that you need to adapt to different changes. Sometimes some exercises are not gonna be as effective as you think. Maybe the fitness influencer you love tells you, oh, this is the best calf exercise. Maybe for you it's not. Maybe it hurts you. Maybe it causes you more pain in your knees or in your ankles. It's completely fine to change the exercises, and there's lots and lots of calf exercises that you can change. And that's something that I passed through. I was always making machine calf raises and spin machine calf raises, but I never actually did other ones, like the seated one, like the leg press one, the donkey one. There's so many ones that you can actually try, and you say, oh wow, this exercise, I actually feel my calves working. And in that way you can actually grow your calves even easier, because the more you feel the pump, the more you feel your muscles are working, then you're in a good path. But if you feel out of pain, especially joint pain, you're not in the good path. So always take care of yourself. You experiment with different exercises. Sometimes the exercise you like may be the one that you love, so always experiment, try different mesocycles. It's very normal to change exercises every 8 weeks, because that's how much a mesocycle takes. If you want more info about mesocycles, you can check my latest videos. You can also check Mikey's Rotel, which in my opinion he talks in detail about mesocycles. I also will make a video in the future, but the point here is that you should take care of yourself as well, and have different perspectives, have different options. Don't just focus on one option. With girls, right, you can't focus on just one girl. You can't just focus on her. You need to have options, so that way you know which partner is the best for you, right? The same is with exercises. If the chick doesn't comply you the best one, man, you need to find another one. Such is life, right? All right, my last point here is that you need to eat enough. You need to eat the amount of calories enough. I don't know what it is, but we like to give specifications for different muscles. Oh, this needs to be trained this way. This needs to be in a you need to eat this. You need to eat that. You need to do this. Guys, this is skeletal muscle. Your chest is skeletal muscle. Your shoulders are skeletal muscles. Your abs are skeletal muscles. Your calves are skeletal muscles. What I'm talking here is that the training principles for building muscle are the same for every single muscle in your body, even your face. If I do like this a lot, and if I put something that adds some resistance to my jaw, my jawline is gonna grow. The same thing with calves. You add some resistance, some weight, something that makes it harder to train, they're gonna grow. They're gonna adapt to that stimulus. So for that reason, you should also eat the sufficient amount of calories. If you don't put the proper fuel to your body, the proper calories to your body, they're not gonna grow, right? So you must grow the correct way. You need to be in a slight caloric surplus. Not even that, there's studies showing that even on maintenance calories you can build muscle. If you want to build muscle effectively, especially if you're a beginner, less than 2 years, for you it's gonna be better to be in a caloric surplus. If you have been struggling years by growing your calves, that means that probably your nutrition hasn't been the great, right? I told you this because that happened to me as well. I started training in maintenance calories and I just stalled. My weight stalled for a lot of months. What did I did? Being a caloric surplus. There's where I started building muscle, and that's where I see some results. So guys and girls, if I help you on building your calves, you can subscribe to my channel. You can see my other videos. Last week I told how I actually fix my knee pain, or how I fix my knee pain when I feel some pain, because that's completely fine. Sometimes you're gonna feel some joint pain, but if you take action and change your routine, you're gonna feel way better. In this video, if you take action, if you change your exercises, if you change your habits, if you stick to it, if you're more serious about it, your calves will grow. All right, so let me know down in the comments how your experience have been with your calves, and if this video helped you, click like, and see y'all in the next video. Check this video right here.